We all love The Lion King. Well, most of us, I guess. But at the end of the day, it's still technically an animated movie for kids, and that means some things were bound to be a little off. From animal behaviors that make no sense to sounds that didn't come from where you'd expect. Today, I'll be going through 15 things in The Lion King that were either completely fake or just wouldn't fly in real life. Let's get into it. 1. Lion roars were fake. You know those powerful, earth-shaking roars from Mufasa and Simba? Yeah, those weren't real lions. Turns out actual lion roars don't sound quite as dramatic. They grunt, growl, moan, hiss, and snarl. Something like this. So Disney decided to spice things up. Instead, they brought in legendary voice actor Frank Welker, who created lion sounds. Take a look. Pretty impressive, huh? But if that wasn't enough, Disney also mixed in tiger roars and, wait for it, a growling camel. Yep, Scar's menacing roar might have a little bit of grumpy desert mammal in it. 2. Rafiki is not really a mandrill. Rafiki is often mistaken for a mandrill, and to be fair, he does have their signature colorful face. But here's the problem. Mandrills don't have long tails. Rafiki does. In reality, he's some sort of hybrid between a mandrill and a baboon, something that doesn't really exist in nature. The animators gave him a tail to make his movements more expressive, but scientifically speaking, Rafiki is basically a walking contradiction. 3. Hyenas do not serve lions. Scar's got his own personal army of hyenas, but in the real animal kingdom, hyenas and lions are more like mortal enemies. They constantly fight over food, and hyenas are more likely to steal from lions than take orders from them. If anything, the hyenas would probably try to gang up on Scar instead of working for him. 4. Simba wouldn't be able to survive on insects. Hakuna Matata might be a great philosophy, but it's definitely not a sustainable diet plan for a growing lion. Timon and Pumbaa introduced Simba to the world of bug eating, but in reality, a lion cub living on insects alone would be severely malnourished. Simba would have needed meat to survive and wouldn't have lasted long on a menu of just grubs and beetles, but hey, it's a kids' movie. 5. Scar's dark mane doesn't mean he's evil. Scar's jet black mane is an obvious visual cue for his sinister nature, but in real life, lions with darker manes are actually stronger and more attractive to lionesses. Studies have shown that dark-maned lions have higher testosterone levels and better survival rates. So, by real-world logic, Scar should have been the pride's ultimate alpha male, not the outcast. 6. The Pride Rock Formation doesn't exist in the real Serengeti. Pride Rock is one of the most recognizable locations in Disney history, but if you go to the Serengeti looking for it, you won't find anything quite like it. While the filmmakers took inspiration from real landscapes, Pride Rock itself was entirely made up for dramatic effect, and it worked. 7. The circle of life is not a real concept in lion societies. Mufasa's speech about the circle of life makes it sound like lions live in perfect harmony with nature. In reality, lion prides are far from peaceful. For example, when a new male takes over, he often kills the cubs of the previous leader to eliminate competition. Or once a dominant male lion gets too old or weak to fight off challengers, he's driven out of the pride by younger, stronger males. So then the old lion faces a lonely and dangerous life as a nomad. Nature does have its own balance, but it's a lot more brutal than Mufasa makes it sound. 8. Timon and Pumbaa wouldn't actually be friends. A meerkat and a warthog teaming up for adventures? Adorable, but totally unrealistic. In the wild, meerkats live in tight-knit groups called mobs, while warthogs are more solitary. Not only would they not be best friends, but Timon would probably be too busy running around with his own kind to even notice Pumbaa. 9. Zazu wouldn't be a royal advisor. Zazu spends most of the movie flying around as Mufasa's right-hand bird, but in reality, hornbills have no relationship with lions. They're more commonly found around elephants, following them to eat insects stirred up by their movement. So, unless Zazu secretly had a side hustle advising elephants, his role in The Lion King is pure fantasy. 10. Lions don't live in dense jungles. When Simba runs away, he ends up in a lush jungle paradise. But here's the thing, lions don't live in jungles. They prefer open grasslands and savannas where they can actually see their prey. If a lion cub like Simba somehow ended up in a rainforest, he'd have a hard time finding the right food and environment to survive. 11. Lions don't form kingdoms or have kings. Lions don't have royal families, thrones, or structured kingdoms like they do in the movie. Instead, their social hierarchy is based on strength and dominance. There's no democratic transfer of power. If a male lion wants to be the leader, he has to fight for it. Simba's whole rightful king storyline is basically a human monarchy system placed onto lions. But hey, it's indeed a beautiful story. 12. Male lions don't do most of the hunting. Simba takes charge during battles and action sequences, but in reality, lionesses do the majority of the hunting. Male lions do participate in hunting, though much less frequently and often with a different focus, such as hunting larger prey like buffalo. Usually, male lions patrol the territory and defend the pride, and in fact, it's quite common that dominant males steal food from lionesses. So, if Simba really wanted to eat, he'd probably be waiting for Nala to bring him a takeaway dinner. 13. Hyenas aren't just mindless henchmen. The hyenas in The Lion King are depicted as goofy, bumbling sidekicks, but real spotted hyenas are actually highly intelligent. Their social structures are complex, and their problem-solving skills are comparable to those of primates. If anything, they're way smarter than Scar gave them credit for. 14. Lion cubs don't look like young Simbas. Simba as a cub is golden, fluffy, and basically a miniature version of his adult self, but real lion cubs don't look like that. They're born with spots that help camouflage them in the wild. These fade as they grow, but they don't resemble fully grown lions right from the start like Simba does. But Disney is not too far-fetched on this one. The cubs are still born cute and fluffy. 15. Rain wouldn't magically restore the Pride Lands. At the climax of the movie, Scar's rain turns the Pride Lands into a barren wasteland. But the moment Simba defeats him, rain starts falling, and suddenly everything is lush and green again. In reality, it would take years for an ecosystem to recover, not just one dramatic rainfall. Nature doesn't work on a Disney timeline, but Disney had to make it work. So, sure, The Lion King takes plenty of artistic liberties, but that's part of what makes it so magical. Despite all these inaccuracies, the movie captures the beauty of the African wilderness in a way that resonates with audiences of all ages. But now you know, sometimes the real world is very different from the world of Disney. Which of these facts surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.